The other day I talked about the relooted devs over on Blue Sky complaining about how gamers on Steam were making fun of their game relooted. Now I also pointed out that people were not just making fun of the game, but also accusing it of being racist because they're saying that it perpetuates racist stereotypes. This is especially noteworthy because the developers and journalists have accused gamers of being racist for criticizing this game, and all of them ignore the accusations of racism that have been leveled at them. Isn't that convenient? But they'll tell you they really care about these issues. No, what's really going on is they try to use buzzwords to devalue the criticism from gamers. But we already all know that, of course. Unfortunately for them, no one cares about what gaming journalists have to say anymore, unless we're using it for content to laugh at. And no one cares about these buzzwords anymore either. So yeah, good luck to them. Corporate activist outlet The Guardian hasn't gotten that memo though, as they just came out with this article on the 16th titled, "This Shouldn't Be Normal. Developers Speak Out About Bigotry on Steam, the World's Biggest PC Gaming Storefront." What a title, huh? Subtext reading, multiple game creators describe ineffective moderation on the platform, resulting in unchecked hatred in forums and targeted campaigns of negative, quote-unquote, anti-woke reviews. Oh no. For years, the gaming storefront Steam has let abuse and bigotry pass through its moderation. According to players and developers who use it, the platform is now host to reams of content that violate its own guidelines. According to developers who spoke with The Guardian, abuse, particularly directed towards transgender creators, is a fact of life on the platform. Everyone is at one another's throats all the time in reviews, discussions, forums, anywhere you can possibly find it on Steam, says content creator and Steam curator Brie Blonde Pizza Moore. It ensures no one is safe on the platform, developers and consumers alike. What are you talking about? Get out of here. The platform's great. Oh, the forums can be mean. Don't use them then. Who cares? Just play your games. Like, what? This is so nonsensical. I think it's kind of funny, though. Well, it's funny for a lot of reasons, but I think it's funny in particular in a suspicious way that we're in the middle of a lawsuit from a UK organization that has ties to the Office of Communications in the UK that has simultaneously been trying to roll out the Online Safety Act to spy on people online and to get their biometric data to harvest that information. And now The Guardian's writing this nonsensical hit piece against Steam. Yeah, it does look a bit odd. And then going back to this part where they have this quote, everyone is at one another's throats all the time in reviews, discussions, forums, anywhere you can find it on Steam. No one's safe. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of the reviews on Steam are either short and to the point, or they're actually surprisingly detailed, as in people leave paragraphs upon paragraphs, you could say writing like mini essays for their reviews, whether they're positive or negative. So saying that like people are at each other's throats in the reviews too, I don't think that's accurate at all. Sure, the forums can be a mess sometimes, but who cares? The forums are just fun, silly nonsense. It's not a big deal at all. You can easily not use them. And by the way, the Steam forums are notorious for being like 90% bait posts anyways. So even more so is it silly to take that stuff seriously and like cry about it to some gaming journalist. What are you doing with your time? You're going and crying to a gaming journalist? Seriously? I think you have bigger problems going on than Steam forums at that point. It's also ridiculous how that person says no one is safe on Steam, and they recycle that talking point a few times in the article. And it's like, dude, you want to talk about something gaming related that's actually not safe? The stuff that kids have to deal with in Roblox, that's awful. That's like actually a real problem. But instead we have these grown adults in this article with their gaming journalist buddies trying to act like victims over mean comments they read on the internet a few times. But of course the journalists double down on these bad points. They say, aside from the content of Steam's forums, sources pointed to two main causes for concern. Bigoted reviews posted on game Steam pages, which can hugely affect sales for their developers, and Steam curators, self-appointed tastemakers on the platform, directing campaigns against games they perceive to lean left or pursue inclusion. Sure. So by perceived leftist politics and inclusion, what they really mean is gamers are seeing how corporations and activists put in overtly leftist politics and try shoehorning in DEI slop to try and appeal to ESG capital firms for investments and government DI initiatives where they can apply for grants. To use a term that activists enjoy using, you could simply say that it's all just a grift. A grift that gamers see right through and rightfully criticize, and now these journalists are trying to manipulate reality and paint these activist grifters and corpos out as a bunch of victims. They then complain about how big Steam is and how developers feel like they have to use it, and it's not fair because Steam doesn't have enough people to properly moderate the platform. And of course, properly moderate to these journalists and activists, they mean they want it to be just like Reddit, right? They want to have full control over what people are allowed to say and not allowed to say. They would love if Steam was just like Reddit. But the best part about this section is where they say The Guardian reached out to Valve on multiple occasions through multiple channels for more information and for comment about why moderators clear so many apparent violations of Steam's guidelines. Valve did not respond to those requests, nor has it made any public comment that The Guardian could find on Steam's moderation issues. I always love when journalists add something like that. We reached out for comment, but we didn't hear anything back. And you can just tell that the journalists are putting that in there because I think it like makes whoever they're going after look bad. In this context, Steam/Valve. They think it makes Valve look bad. Like, oh, Valve didn't respond to the journalists. They didn't respond to our inquiry. And it's like, well, actually, that makes them look based. They just ignored the journalists. Yeah, that's a Valve dub. This part's really funny too. They have this dev saying to the journalists, Valve's refusal to moderate any of this is making Steam reviews and forums the battleground for some kind of culture war and is making them unsafe. There we go again with the whole, oh, it's not safe thing. And is making them unsafe for marginalized people and regular gamers trying to simply enjoy the game they bought. And it's like, dude, don't speak on behalf of regular gamers. Most gamers that use Steam are totally fine with Steam. They don't view any of this as a problem. This is a problem that you guys are all trying to make. So don't like be the instigators trying to make problems out of thin air and then act like, oh, we're trying to protect the gamers, the regular gamers out there. Like, no, you aren't. And actually, it's funny because that lawsuit I referenced earlier in the video, that's the same rhetoric they're using. This Vicky Shotbolt person, this UK activist who has ties to Ofcom, she was saying the same thing in her argument. She's like, oh, we're doing this lawsuit because we want to protect the gamers. We're doing this for the gamers. And that was complete nonsense. I also don't believe where this person in the Guardian article is complaining about some like culture war going on Steam. I think they're upset that they have tried so hard to push leftist politics onto gamers, and they've been rejected over and over and over again. That gamers are like, dude, we just want to play games. Stop trying to shoehorn in your political agenda into this stuff, right? That's what is really going on. And I think they're mad about that. Hypothetically, if the forums were like Reddit, where it was like very obviously left-leaning, and it was all like pro-leftist stuff, I don't think this person would be saying anything about a culture war going on. They would probably love that. So again, I just think these people are very manipulative in their language. Anyways, here's how The Guardian ends the article with these final 2 paragraphs. It is increasingly easy, however, for the average consumer to log on to Steam and encounter abuse, bigotry, and hate, much of which has been cleared by moderators. And because reviews affect a game's visibility on Steam, a single negative review can mean the difference between success and failure. Lax moderation doesn't just create individual harm, but has profound professional and economic implications for developers across the platform. Oh, they're really trying to make this a huge problem, aren't they? Many of them say they feel forced simply to endure it, unable to walk away from Steam's near monopoly on PC gaming. If I am going to continue existing on Steam, I am under the impression that I will have to go through this exhausting ordeal every time I want to report abuse. This shouldn't be normal. Oh my gosh, get over yourself. These people really want to be treated like the biggest victims ever. I think I've said the word victim more today than I have in a long time. Like between my first video of the day and this one, the first video, if you missed it, was about high guard devs playing victim and gaming journalists trying to run damage control for them, trying to make them look like victims. And now I see that like similar stuff going on here from The Guardian, except also they're trying to go after Steam. And so it really does seem like this journalist at The Guardian is kind of hoping that this might bolster the lawsuit against Steam or something. Like, not directly. I don't want to go down some, like, rabbit hole here. But with everything they were saying about how developers need to use Steam, and they're painting that as, like, a problem, which is similar to one of the arguments being made by the plaintiffs, Vicky Shotbolt's lawsuit against Steam, there's just very weird crossovers here. I don't think it's like they're directly working together, but I do think this journalist was being opportunistic, seeing like, oh, okay, this lawsuit's going against Steam. Now's my chance. I can write some hit piece against Steam that maybe makes them look bad or something like that, you know? That's just my opinion, though. And why would this journalist do such a thing? Because again, they don't like how Steam does have more free speech than a lot of platforms out there. And they're all mad that Steam won't moderate things the way they want them to be moderated. And we all know that's an extremely biased form of moderation that they want. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.